What is going on, everybody? Welcome to an all-new edition of the AATBirds weekly report here on the AAT Sports Network. I am Chip at Chip for the Birds, joined by Johnny U9322, and special guest tonight, Joe Giglio, who you have heard on 94.1, who you have seen on Comcast Sports, and who you know and love talking Philadelphia sports, and he is joining us tonight to talk Philadelphia Eagles. Joe, thank you for joining us tonight, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. Thanks for having me. This is that was an awesome intro. That was really cool.
Yeah, that's Johnny's our video guy, and he gets everybody riled up right before they come on, and then they have to, refocus themselves and recalm. But meanwhile, it's June, and we're all jacked up for Eagles football.
Always. That's just normal around here. Yeah, I mean, of course we are. We're less than 100 days away to the season opener. So yeah, I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Johnny, what is the official counter?
It is 95. I did post Randall Cunningham's 95-yard touchdown pass this morning. So, yeah, the countdown is officially on. We are ready for some Eagles football. OTAs have started. I know they've, have some interviews, everything like that. They've been on the field. You hear that. You see all the beat writers putting out their little input. Get you kind of excited. Of course, football. This town's a football town. No matter how good the Phillies are playing, no matter how good all that, it's still a football town.
Football first.
Exactly.
So Joe, let me ask. Let's just jump right into this. So, the Philadelphia Eagles, I personally feel, I'm curious to know your take, kind of outpaced themselves a little bit with where they were in their rebuild last year. Then this offseason, there have been a flurry of moves, and they've, on paper, seemingly got better. What are your views so far on what the Eagles have done? And what are your expectations for this team as they stand right now?
Yeah, I love the offseason. What they were able to do on draft night to land Jordan Davis, that was what I wanted. I know there's some concern about him not being a pass rusher and kind of like an old school defensive tackle. That guy is going to destroy the pocket. He's going to make every pass rusher around him better. So I'm so happy they got that done. And then to land A.J. Brown, guys, I was against the idea of like that Tyreek Hill trade. I didn't want to trade 5 for a wide receiver. But what Howie was able to do, a 1 and a 3 for A.J. Brown, I mean, that's remarkable. And then to get him signed up. So I love the offseason. And I agree with you. Did they overachieve yet last year? Probably, considering their win total was 6.5. The schedule was certainly light at the end, and they took advantage of it. But even if they were more like a 7 or 8 win team last year, they've made a leap with the talent they've added. So I love where they're at right now. And my view right now, I'm trying not to go too overboard, but I do think this is about an 11-win team. In a 17-game season, I look at them, and I think they have the ability to go win 11 games this year.
Now, in your mind, are they –
I also like to –
No, you're good, Johnny. Sorry.
I also like to bring up, though, Louis, when you look at the division. And the Dallas Cowboys have taken a tiny step back. You have to look at the players that they lost. And a lot of people want to say – they're great at drafting, and I got plenty of people that tell me they got young players, but Michael Gallup coming off an ACL injury, you lose Amari Cooper, you lose Connor Williams, you're losing players on that team who are focal points in their, wherever they play, offense, defense. They lost some key players. Who knows? Trevon Diggs had 11 interceptions. About how great, he's so good, everything. But the thing about it is, when a player has that many interceptions, they never bounce back the next season and have that same type of production. If he takes a step back, it's going to be a pretty big fall off because he did give up over 1,000 yards receiving last year as one of their number one corner. So the Dallas Cowboys are a team that Eagles and them, I think, they're right neck and neck right there.
Yeah, I think Dallas takes a big step back. Look, their offense was great last year, but you mentioned it. No Amari Cooper. They lost Cedric Wilson as well. Wilson was about their number 3 by the end of the year. They lost him. He's not there this year in the wide receiving core. I think CeeDee Lamb's going to be excellent. He'll be a number 1. He'll put up big numbers. He'll be their guy. But the injury to Gallup is significant. Is he going to be ready week 1? I don't know. Their offensive line isn't what it used to be. And guys, I mean, Ezekiel Elliott is a shell of himself. Like he's done. I mean, he's not the player he used to be. And we know he's killed the Eagles over the years. And they lost Randy Gregory, which was a big deal. It just feels like Dallas is set up to take a step back. The Sean Payton thing is going to hover the whole year. I mean, he's their next coach. Let's be real. Sean Payton's their next coach. He's hanging out at Fox until Jerry Jones fires McCarthy. So it just feels like they're poised to take a step back. Eagles take one forward. I think they're the best team in this division. The odds have kind of moved the betting market. Like 2 months ago, you got great value on the Eagles. And now I think everyone's jumping on this. So it feels like it's kind of even, but I think the Eagles are better right now.
And I have to agree with you. I mean, they've definitely, everything that they've done, even on paper, has made them a better team, which leads to the one big question that the Philadelphia Eagles have, which we know and love, and the fact is it's the punter. No, I'm joking. The punter is an issue, but that's a different show that, less people are going to tune in for. What are your thoughts on Jalen Hurts, the respect that he is clearly not getting, the town still being divided on him, and in your estimation, does he have the skill set to lead this team to the next level?
Yeah, I think he does. I'm a Jalen Hurts guy. I'm a believer in him. I think that Jalen Hurts is a winning quarterback. I mean, will Jalen Hurts ever be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL? I think he will not. If you make me guess right now, you say, well, Joe, will he ever be top 5? I will say no. But I've said before, I think his ceiling is to be at the bottom of that top 10. You look at these quarterback lists right now, and I think there's like 7 or 8, and like those are franchise special quarterbacks, right? We're talking about the Russell Wilsons, obviously Mahomes. I mean, you know who I'm talking about. And then once you get past that, it's the beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Like, could Jalen Hurts become the Eagles' version of Dak? I think he could. Could Jalen Hurts become is a different kind of player, but like Jimmy Garoppolo is not a great quarterback, but they win with Jimmy Garoppolo. They went to a Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo. Like I think he could end up in that range where he's a good quarterback. He's a winning quarterback. And the one thing I love about him, guys, and I always tell this story on the air. First time I watched him play at Alabama, he was 17 years old, right? He won the job as a freshman. I didn't even think he was a quarterback. I thought he was a running back. That's how bad his throwing motion was. The leap he's made from that, it's remarkable. He gets better every single year. I'm amazed at what he's turned himself into. So I've stopped doubting Jalen Hurts. We heard the reports at OTAs, Sirianni talking about his throwing motion, his fundamentals, they got better. He gets better every year. I mean, I expect him to get better. And I would say last year, I think if we're being fair about it, maybe he was like the 20th best quarterback in the NFL last year. I think that's a fair way to say it. I think he could jump to 15 this year, be a top half of the league quarterback. And with the players around him, I think that's good enough to go win a division. So, yeah, I'm a Hurts fan. I like that they have him here.
I agree with him. I like what I'm seeing. The stride, the progression. He's finally going to have, an offensive play caller for a second year in a row, which he's never had. And to me, it's just you're looking at him and what he brings and the intangibles and just his leadership qualities. And there's so much there. And then if he's of his physical performance, that's just icing on top. It's something that you can see with this franchise, because if he takes that next step, the type of player that he's going to be in this city and the accountability that he takes on as well, it's just, to me, it's like you want him to succeed. And for me, it's just, I want him to succeed so much, because I just think that every step of the way, watching him at Alabama, then going to Oklahoma, then being drafted, sitting behind Carson Wentz, getting the opportunity to play, being able to work his way step by step and get himself better. And he's still only 23 years old. So it's not like he's, Wentz was his rookie season. So for me, it's just, the guy just gets better and better. And I just think that you're going to see with this offense, and they've got him the weapons. And that's another thing I think people are going to see this offseason. There's no excuses. They got him the weapons that he wanted, that he needed, that we all told Howie, you need to get him somebody, a receiver, along the lines of that. And they did it.
Yeah, and you mentioned his age and his experience level in the offensive play calling thing. I think back to the issues he had last year, right? Like his first full year as a starter, the parts that we worried about. Guys, I don't think it's physical. I think his arm's fine. I think about that throw he made to Quez Watkins in Denver. Remember when Quez dropped that pass before halftime? That pass is money. That's 50 yards in the air. That's money. He could throw the ball. And I always think with him, when he's accurate, he is really accurate. Like, he'll hit guys in the hands and stride. I think with him, it's about timing. Remember that play last year against the Saints where he kind of scrambled around and Marcus Williams tipped it away? He almost, I think it was Sanders, kind of broke down the sideline. It was a little short. I just think it's timing. Like, once he, the game moves fast, and once it slows down for him, and it could this year, he's going to be fine. And then, we didn't bring up the running ability, his legs. I was at that Charger game last year, that scramble when he flipped over, like that kind of stuff, like those are winning plays, like to convert a 3rd and 6 with his legs. So it's all there. The players love him, obviously hard worker. And I don't think that we could take for granted the leadership stuff. Like, they believe in him in that locker room. So I'll go to war with Jalen Hurts as my quarterback. I'm excited that he's here. I think he's going to play well this year.
And you mentioned, I mean, there have definitely been a lot of changes between coaching and the front office. So we now know that Sirianni's not going to call the plays, but it came out that he wasn't calling the plays. And we now know that, Jonathan Gannon has more of the pieces that we want. We know there have been changes in the front office. Out of all the moves that have happened from the non-on the field stuff with the players, what do you think is the biggest move that the Eagles have made this offseason?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, obviously the front office stuff, it'll take us a couple of years to figure out what that all means. And Andy Weidel, I think, was an asset, and he's gone now. But look, the Eagles have had a lot of turnover in that front office for years. They're kind of a front office factory. People want to hire their people away. So I don't lose too much sleep over that. People said when Joe Douglas left, this thing was going to fall apart. I like Joe. The Jets haven't come close to winning anything with him yet. So, I think they'll be fine. But the one thing off the field, which will come onto the field, I mean, they're obviously moving to a 3-4. I think that's really what they've done this offseason has told us what they're doing. Some of those videos they've put out, like on their social pages, you could see Josh Sweat standing up. A couple of months ago, maybe a month ago, I had a chance to fill in for Angelo one morning here, and Brandon Graham came in for an hour. So we had him in, and I asked him about it because, he played a 3-4 with Chip Kelly was here, and now, he's a little bit different part of his career, and he thinks it's exciting that they're going to incorporate more of that. They're not saying it out loud that they're doing a 3-4, but it's pretty clear. You don't draft Jordan Davis to play a 4-3. You don't sign Hassan Reddick, he's a pass rushing linebacker, to play a 4-3. So I think that it's good. And I think they have the personnel to switch to that. So I think that's the most interesting part of this. And then, guys, how much they invested in linebacker. They never do this. They signed Kazir White. They signed Hassan Reddick, and obviously Nakobe Dean, who I can't believe he fell in the third round, but they've added a lot of linebackers. You don't do that unless you're moving to a 3-4. So I just think that they've kind of told us they're doing it without saying it out loud. That's pretty big for me.
And I also think, I did hear your show today. You're talking about Sirianni and the play calling aspect, and Shane Steichen now calling plays along the lines of that. But who do you think don't you think Jonathan Gannon has a lot more heat on him in terms of they got him players that fit his system? Last year they were void of talent and void of there, plus also players who just were deficient, unfortunately. You had to play with what you had. And now they've got guys. They added players, Bradbury, and you got Jordan Davis, you got Nakobe Dean, Kaiser White, you added Hassan Reddick. You did all these things to help them. Do you think that Jonathan Gannon has a lot more pressure than you would say Nick Sirianni, especially with all this that just came out the last few days?
Yeah, I would. Yeah. I mean, look, Sirianni, based on his rookie year, based on his first year, he's going to be here in 2023, right? He'll be the head coach. Even if they take a small step back this year, they're not going to fire him. So he'll be here. Gannon's future, he's got a lot on the line. I mean, if he struggles, if he stinks, he could be fired. And guys, we know he was a finalist for the Texans job. Jonathan Gannon, I think there's a real chance he's a head coach in the NFL next year. And I know a lot of fans, a lot of people that watch this are like, man, I don't even think Gannon's any good. Obviously, people in the NFL think this guy's smart. I mean, there's a lot of people who think this guy is smart. And maybe he'll be a better head coach than he's a coordinator. That happens sometimes. But he's got a lot on the line. I agree with you. They spent a lot to add to his defense. Their first pick is a defensive player. The biggest signing is a defensive player. So they went out there. And you mentioned the guys they got. I was reading something tonight. I forget who it was, like Bill Barnwell or someone. He said the biggest upgrade any team made this offseason with a position was whatever the heck the Broncos had at quarterback, Drew Lock and whatever, to Russell Wilson, right? Like that's the biggest. Yeah. But I if I was making a list of those, I would put the jump from Jannard Avery, who just was a waste of time, to Hassan Reddick. Like they went from a guy that's like he's just a guy to a guy that had 15 sacks last year. So they got him help. They got him a real pass rusher now to go with Josh Sweat.
Yeah, and it's very, very interesting because for years the Eagles fan base has been clamoring for better defensive players. And they went out and got them. Now, in your estimation, we besides quarterback, because we know there's just question marks there, what is still the biggest position of need for this Eagles team?
Yeah, I'm worried about the safety spot.
Yep.
I actually kind of like Marcus Epps, and I don't mind that he's going to get more playing time, but I mean, guys, can you think of one play Anthony Harris made all last year? I can't think of one. He was just invisible on the field, and now he's probably back as a starter. I would have said corner, but Bradbury's here now, and I think at corner they're set. As long as they stay healthy with Avante, and they even have a lot of young depth behind those guys if they do get banged up a little bit. But safety worries me. I don't know if they have another move in them. I mean, they've used a lot of capital this offseason, so I don't know. I know some people brought up that Jesse Bates in Cincinnati. I doubt it. I just don't see how we trade another big pick. So this is probably what they're going to roll with. But, when they're in contention, and we saw it the Super Bowl year, they went and traded for Ajayi to help at running back, right? Before the season started, they traded for Ronald Darby. So it wouldn't shock me if they made a move for a safety. It just might be someone we're like, who? It might not be a name. That worries me a little bit because that spot it's dicey right now. That position is probably the weakest on the roster.
So I want to play Johnny's game because I know we're getting to a point with you, and I want to play Johnny's game. So Johnny runs a lot of our social media stuff, and a couple of weeks ago he decided to use and abuse our fan base and play everyone's favorite game of what if. So he rolled with this, and it is which choice would you make? So these are all huge parts of the Philadelphia Eagles lore. And it led to some really good conversation. But again, your choices are Vermeil doesn't retire. The Fog Bowl is delayed. Chris Carter finds himself in Philly. Randall doesn't get hurt in 1991. Reggie stays. McNabb doesn't get hurt. T.O. stays healthy. Carson Wentz doesn't get hurt, or Alshon catches it.
So that one is a great one. They're all like, we could do a segment on all of them. Mm-hmm. But the one that stood out to me as I looked at it, I did see this on social when you posted it. The one that stood out is Alshon catches it because it just to me is the biggest what if of the last 5 years from so many perspectives. All right, even if we play a lot of the same stuff out, if they win that game, they go to the Rams the next week. We know they had beat the Rams, and Doug had a lot of success against Sean McVay, and really Jim Schwartz had a lot of success against Sean McVay. If they get back to another Super Bowl, and let's say they win it, or even just get back there, I mean, guys, how does Nick Foles not their quarterback the next year? I mean, he would be, right? So then would they have traded Wentz? Would Wentz have been a backup? Like at that point, think about Wentz's value. He still was looked at as a future star quarterback in the NFL. I mean, they might have been able to got 2 or 3 number 1 picks for him. It might have changed the whole trajectory of the franchise. And then if Doug goes to back-to-back Super Bowls, does he get fired off of one bad year? I don't think he does. I don't know how they would fire him off of that. So I have to go with that one because I know they got banged up when Brandon Brooks got hurt in that Saints game. Fletcher got hurt. So it was no lock they were going to beat the Rams the next week. But, man, that does not happen often, getting a chance to go to back-to-back Super Bowls. That's the one. There's just so many tentacles to the Wentz thing off of it and what happened. But that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I for me, I was stuck on the T.O. stays healthy.
Yeah.
Because he was putting up astronomical numbers and still had a huge game in the Super Bowl. The T.O. one, I think, is mine.
For me, I love the Randall not getting hurt in 91 because then you don't have to run out the quarterbacks, Brad Gable, and you don't have to run out Jeff Kemp, and you don't have to run out all these guys who Pat Ryans and Jim McMahon played, but he was hurt and they still went 10-6. And you had one of the best defenses, in my opinion, one of the best defenses ever of all time.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't witness it because I was born in 91. But of course I was, so I've seen that. But yeah, I also have another one coming that's kind of on the same lines as that, but it's another fun one. So it gets your juices flowing in your head there and your brain going.
So Johnny would also like to ask you what out of this list, and you notice that Jalen Reagor is not on this list, and he is my right now takeaway, the most recent.
How about this? Here's a nice question: who's the bigger first round receiver bust, Freddie Mitchell or Jalen Reagor? Because it's
Jalen Reagor.
No, Freddie Mitchell. Look at
Jalen Reagor.
I think it's Reagor.
It's got to be Reagor because of what came after him. What came after him in the draft class? At least Freddie Mitchell has an iconic play in Philadelphia lore.
Right, he helped them win a playoff game. Right, he helped them win a playoff game. Like, if nothing but else that, at least Freddie Mitchell helped them win a playoff game. The Reagor thing's amazing. I can't believe he's still here. I mean, he's what, 5th on the depth chart right now, 4th? I think they're
maybe even lower. Maybe even lower.
They're probably hoping someone gets hurt in training. Not that they hope someone gets hurt, but you know what I mean. Like someone needs a receiver in training camp, and they get a fifth round pick for him, so it's just going to keep him around until then. But man, it's been bad. I don't know if you guys ever heard this. I had a red flag on Rager. I kind of liked him coming out of college, like because he did a lot of good things at TCU. But I can't remember if it was post-draft or pre-draft. But I might have been post-draft. So you know how coaches in college usually like pump up their players no matter what? Like they're happy when they get to the NFL because it makes their program look good. Gary Patterson, the TCU coach at that time, who coached Rager in college, he came on the midday show here with Cameron Ritchie after, I think it was right after the Eagles drafted him. And he was like, he wasn't very complimentary of him. He was like, yeah, you know, he could be really good if you stay on him and if he concentrates. And I'm like, what? Like, it was like a major red flag. That kid's all in his head. It's a shame because he does have some physical ability, but I can't handle Rager anymore.
So out of this list then, where you have Leroy Keys, Michael Haddix, Kevin Allen, Leonard Renfro, Bernard Williams, John Harris, Jerome McDougal, Marcus Smith, and Danny Watkins, who's the biggest draft bust for you?
Boy, Smith and Watkins are both so bad. I think it's Watkins because he didn't even want to play football. He
quit the game.
Right. And then it's funny to me. It doesn't make up for it because it's bad if you have a Danny Watkins. But they did end up with Kelsey in the 6th round of that draft. It's crazy. Like, imagine before that draft, I told you they took a Hall of Fame lineman. Everyone would have said, oh, it's got to be Danny Watkins. No, it was that skinny kid out of Cincinnati in the 6th round, and now he's a Hall of Famer.
The only good pick in that horrible 20.
I know. Who was it? Brian Roll was in there. They had a lot. That was a weird draft.
Laquan Jarrett?
Yeah. 2nd round pick, Temple?
Yep.
For me, and I up until a couple years ago, for me, it was Marcus Smith. And then you started to hear all the stuff coming out of his time with the Raiders, where it was a ton of mental health stuff. Right. And he, so I have, in 2022, I have forgiven Marcus Smith because he wasn't mentally right. So for me, it's Danny Watkins because, good on you to go fight fires, but you needed to play more football.
Right, you were drafted to play football, not fight fires. But again, good on him being a real hero, but he didn't want to play football.
Yeah.
Johnny, do you have a pick off your own list?
I'm going to go Renfro because the problem was they drafted him after they got rid of Reggie White. There was no way he was ever going to live up to, the lore of Reggie White. So he was failed to the start. And he wasn't very good. He basically was a year and a half and he was gone. So, yeah.
So I want to throw up one question from our fan Adam here. Adam comments on a lot of them. That's a really great question. He says, Joe, what is your favorite moment while working with Philadelphia sports? And it can be any of the 4 teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I think it would be just to go off of this conversation and the Eagles the last 5 years. So I guess it was the playoff run right before Alshon dropped it, right? They played the Bears, the double doink game, and then the Alshon dropped it game. We did so I do the road pregame shows. When the Eagles have a game, the pregame show I do with Glenn Macnow and Ross Tucker on the road games. And so we did them at the Fillmore, and we had a big watch party. It's weird. It was like obviously pre-COVID, so we had like hundreds of people packed in that place, and it was really cool to watch on that big screen. But just being there with everyone because we all together were watching. It must have been like 250 people there. When the double doink happened, right? When that field goal, when Parkey missed that field goal, and like the instant moment you realize, oh my goodness, like Nick Foles is taking him on another run. That was really cool just to be like with everyone for that moment.
That's a cool moment.
Yeah, I mean I like that. I think that's a big one because that. Nick Foles, while he has won a Super Bowl here and he is an absolute legend in Philadelphia, kind of has been mediocre everywhere else. But at the same time, and kind of circling back to the current Eagles, now that Nick Foles was a free agent, and there was a lot of talk about him coming back here, I can't wait for his jersey retirement day. I can't wait for his one-day retirement contract. But we have to let Jalen Hurts have his chance. Have to let Jalen Hurts have his chance.
Yeah. No, I mean, Nick will be beloved here forever. I mean, not only did he bring the Super Bowl here, but he outplayed Tom Brady or played with Tom Brady in a Super Bowl. I mean, it might be the most remarkable performance in NFL history. Like, how the heck did Nick Foles do that for those 4 quarters? It was nuts.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's been coming back, the artist rendering of the final 4 quarterbacks of that season. And, you see Tom Brady and you see Nick Foles and Case Keenum and Blake Bortles. And if you had told me that anyone other than Tom Brady was going to win that Super Bowl, you would have been laughed out of the room. And that's our one ring.
That's it.
So Joe, we first off, we really appreciate you joining us tonight. We're going to hang on and do a couple more things. But where can the people find you? What are you working on? What's new and exciting in your professional world?
Yeah, lots of ways. I mean, at Joe Giglio Sports on Twitter. So I post links there and whatever when I'm on the air. So I'm on the evening show here at WIP from 6 to 10. I'm actually hanging out right now because when the Phillies play, so I'm on before and after the game. So I'm hanging out. I'll be on again after the game tonight. Phillies are up. They're playing great right now, which is awesome. They're giving us a season here. So that, and then I do a sports gambling show in the morning for same company, Odyssey. It's on the BetQL network. If you download the Odyssey app, that's where you can find WIP. You can also find the BetQL network. So just search that and just put my name in there. You'll find all the stuff I do, podcasts and all that stuff. So just go to the Odyssey app and I'm in there all the time.
All right. Well, Joe, like we said, we really appreciate you giving us some time tonight. And we'll be in touch as the season gets a little closer and we can pick your brain a little more.
You got it, guys. Continue success with the show. This was fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you. All right. So, Johnny, the one thing I really want to get into right now, and we touched on it a little bit, is these quarterback lists that keep coming out.
Oh, God.
Specifically, I didn't want to waste Joe's time with Chris Sims's list, which is just straight gaslighting the Philadelphia fan base. And real quick before we get into that, Ricky, if you're still on, congratulations. That's super exciting. Gator, if you're still hanging on, awesome. Love that you're here. I'm not sure where Bauer is tonight, but he is not here. He didn't want to talk to Joe, so sorry. Chris, I have not watched the new movie Hustle yet, but I do plan on it. And I think that's all the comments. So keep it rolling in, guys. So Chris Sims, after getting absolutely crushed on his quarterback list last year, revealed yet another quarterback list. Johnny, where is our boy Jalen Hurts this time?
I think he has him at, should we say, 25?
Oh my God. How is this happening?
For me, it's just like you look at this and which way can you get a lot of talk about this list that I'm making? And if you're Chris Sims, you're looking at it saying, if I put Jalen Hurts pretty low, it's going to get a lot of people talking, a lot of people sharing it, a lot of people conversation going. So
he's gaslighting us. Got it.
I just don't see how you can put him. I'm not saying put him top 10, top 5, but he should at least be in that 15 to 17 range easy, in my opinion.
So this is what I found, and apparently he has not finished revealing it yet. Am I correct with this?
Tomorrow he's doing 8 to 5, and then
got it. So this is the most updated list. So he has Kenny Pickett in the top 40 right away, and this might actually be a little bit cropped off. So we lost 20 and 40. So hold on, let me wander back here. All right, so 20 is Garoppolo and 40 is Drew Lock.
There we go.
Let me scroll up a skosh here. That should be most of them, right? Okay, so we have this list, right? And going from the bottom, Drew Lock is the worst starting quarterback in the league. And I kind of have to agree. He's really terrible. The level to which the Broncos improved is absurd. And the fact that the Seahawks are not on the phone to get Baker Mayfield is absurd to me as well. Kenny Pickett, again, he's a rookie. He's not even going to be the starting quarterback. That's why all the way up at 27, you got Mitchell Trubisky, but they're both the same level of quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater, not the starting quarterback. Gardner Minshew made the list. After last year, Jalen Hurts did not make this list. Gardner Minshew, the backup quarterback, made this list.
Yeah, but again, there's 40 quarterbacks. There's only 32 spots. So there's room for 8 backups, rookies, or whatever. But
Tyrod Taylor. So out of the starting quarterback list, Drew Lock is the worst. Although Geno Smith is ranked higher.
Yeah, Geno Smith shouldn't be that high. I'm sorry.
Geno Smith should not be on this list.
Yeah, I just think that's a little – that's way too high in my opinion.
You got Davis Mills listed at 35. Again, he's going to be a starting quarterback in this league, so why is Tyler Huntley listed above him? Yeah, I mean, these guys are just so we continue going up, and we're trying to get our way all the way up to Jalen Hurts at 25. So you have, Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, Trey Lance, Jared Goff. The Jared Goff one, again, I know that he is, he's not great, but I have him higher than 30. I have him higher than Trevor Lawrence. I have him higher than Justin Fields. I certainly have him higher than Zach Wilson and Daniel Jones.
I think goes in the 8 range. He's not super high in my opinion. You're looking at that. Like Mariota, I think is too high at 28.
Winston is too high at 26.
Yeah, for me, it's just Daniel Jones at 21. Daniel Jones.
That's absurd. That's absurd.
What has he showed in his career, except for he can turn the ball over?
He can run and fall down.
Yeah, I just think that's, again, it's Chris Sims. What he is doing is he's getting a rile out of fan bases. And the Eagles, especially when you put Jalen Hurts at 25 and you have Carson Wentz ahead of him. I'm sorry, but you have Jimmy Garoppolo, Daniel Jones, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence. Those 3 guys, I understand maybe their ceiling is higher, but this is the top 40 quarterbacks right now. It's not on potential. It's not on what they've done, because, you're looking at the list too. Matt Ryan at 14 seems to me is way too. Matt Ryan fell off a little bit. He's getting older as well. Baker Mayfield at 17. Baker Mayfield had an awful season. So, to me, Jalen Hurts, in my opinion, is in that 15 to 17, 18 range. So he can fall in there with room to grow.
I look at this list, right? And Adam has a couple great comments. He's saying he's got Prescott ranked higher than Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
That should be the case. Lamar Jackson is a great athlete. He is an okay quarterback.
Still won the MVP. Dak Prescott.
He did. You're absolutely right. But I'm not looking at accolades. I'm looking at sheer quarterbacking ability. How can you have Deshaun Watson at 13 when he hasn't played football in 2 years? Why is Colin Kaepernick not on this list if that's the case?
That's a little different of a situation.
Is it, though? Because Deshaun Watson is in reality, Deshaun Watson may not play this season. We know the stuff that's still coming out, and thank goodness we didn't get our hats in the ring because of that. Mac Jones, there is no way that Mac Jones should be in the top 20. There is no way that Mac Jones should be in the top 20. There's no way that Ryan Tannehill should be at 15. Ryan Tannehill showed what he was when Derrick Henry went out. You know what I mean? Jimmy Garoppolo should not lose the San Francisco job. Trey Lance is not ready. There are so many things wrong with this list, but Jalen Hurts took a team that wasn't supposed to go to the playoffs and got them there. Now, this goes against my same argument where Lamar Jackson is not a good quarterback. Well, as of right now, Jalen Hurts is an improving quarterback, but I definitely think that he is better than Trevor Lawrence. I definitely think he's better than Justin Fields. He's certainly better than Zach Wilson and Daniel Jones. So right there, he should be at 20 at the latest. Carson Wentz failed when the game was in his hands. When he wasn't giving the ball to Jonathan Taylor, the best running back in football, he failed. Carson Wentz is learning a new system. He should not be in the top 20. And I just do not understand, other than making it clickbait and gaslighting, how this is a valued list. Chris Sims wasn't even a good quarterback in the league.
See, people want to bring that situation up. I understand that. You're looking at the pedigrees and everything. But again, there's been players who were not very good quarterbacks. Like Doug Peterson that won a Super Bowl, who never played in the NFL, or they played in the NFL and they were awful, that became great head coaches. There's players who were absolute Hall of Famers, elite stars that couldn't coach a lick. So I understand his playing career was not very good. But again, he still was in the league and he still was around people that in the league, scouting circles, stuff like that. So to me, that's fine. I don't bring that up. Well, he only had, he was terrible as a starting quarterback. But my thing is, he does things with the list to get conversations, because when you're putting Jalen Hurts at 25, the Eagles fan base is going to
has already ripped you a new asshole from last season.
Yeah.
So Adam's saying he's got Josh Allen 2, Brady 3, Mahomes 1. you're forgetting about who will be listed as the number one quarterback, which is Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, there's Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes still.
Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow.
There's Brady, Josh Allen, but Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow.
I mean, that's 6 guys right there.
Yeah, and there's just 2 more left there. But to me, it's just I don't know.
I found a different list, and maybe this is
okay. I like this.
I found a different list, and it comes from another mediocre quarterback.
Well, who's this quarterback?
This quarterback is Dan Orlovsky.
Okay.
Okay, so Dan Orlovsky, who I genuinely sometimes enjoy. Say again?
Sometimes.
I genuinely sometimes enjoy this guy. So he has 2 lists here, right? So the one list is quarterbacks you win games because of in the NFL, which means these are the elite of the elite. Anybody on this list, so for those of you listening, you got Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Derek Carr, Justin Herbert, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and Matt Stafford. Anybody on that list that is a little bit overhyped in your mind?
I'm gonna give you a couple names, okay? Derek Carr is one. Matthew Stafford, I'm going to say as well. If that's the case, then no matter what the Detroit Lions look like, they should have won games. If he's a quarterback,
well, they did. He took him to the playoffs a couple times.
But they never won a playoff game.
But so then that's interesting is that the first year that he gets out is all of a sudden he's winning a Super Bowl. And that might be the case to be made is that, Matthew Stafford should not be on this list. I would venture it to go a little further of quarterbacks that win you games in the playoffs because win you games during the playoffs in the NFL right now, and you have to remove Aaron Rodgers from that list. Because regular season Rodgers is very, very different than playoff Rodgers. Now,
you're right.
Here's the other half of this list, which is quarterbacks you win games with in the NFL, meaning, cool, you won some games, but it wasn't necessarily because of the quarterback. Everyone else is in spite of and unknown. So again, if you look at the quarterbacks you just happen to win with, Mac Jones, Tua, Baker, Ryan Tannehill, Matt Ryan, Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, Jameis Winston, Kyler Murray, that's a mistake right there, Jimmy Garoppolo, which means that our boy, Jalen Hurts, is an unknown or you win in spite of him.
See,
thoughts? And Carson Wentz is also not on either list. Interesting.
Yeah, when he talked up Carson Wentz, how many times it shows all the film and how he's doing.
Daniel Jones, not on this list.
All this other stuff. I think that's absolutely, me, that's dead wrong because you can win with Jalen Hurts. And there's an account on Twitter, if you guys don't know, it's NFL Honest. I think it's at NFL Honest. He does a lot of breakdowns, a former scout, quarterback coach type of guy on Twitter. And he broke down a couple things with Jalen Hurts in terms of film and the aspects. I think either yesterday or today, it was something in there. But Jalen Hurts is a quarterback you can win with because of his legs. And, his arm may not be the strongest at Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers type, people winning arm in this league that you can easily win with as long as the timing and everything is on point. So I just think this list is just Tua. How can you win games with Tua? What has he showed you that Jalen Hurts didn't show you?
He got them to the playoffs, and that was great. Or he made them a playoff caliber team, but you still had to go out and overspend for Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield.
Isn't even a quarterback in this league right now.
Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston's never even made the playoffs.
Jameis Winston almost lost the job to a trick gadget quarterback.
So I won't say Jimmy G. Jimmy G's made multiple NFC championships.
Jimmy G should not lose the San Francisco job until he loses the job.
Yeah, I know he had surgery in the offseason, and I know they want to try to push Trey Lance and everything because they got their own situation out there and along the lines of that. But this list is just, I don't know. I just think they get so out of it. Again, it's
clickbait.
I don't put Jalen Hurts on there. It's going to create conversation. It's going to create a lot of stuff there. So to me, it is what it is with these quarterbacks and what people say. But again, you're looking at OTAs, you're looking at the release and how he's. I put a video of him in 2022 or 2021 and 2022. There's a little bit, you could see there's a little bit difference in terms of his windup, in terms of his feet, in terms of his foot placement. Of course, you have to see it in the game. You have to see it differently when there's a rush, when there's a blitz, when someone's coming off the edge, when you have to escape, when different things you need to do. But again, he met with quarterback coaches. He's a guy that's determined. He's determined to succeed. He's determined to get better at every aspect of his game. So, I'm ready for it. I'm excited. The offense, over. They're the first team to finish OTA, so they're not going to be back on the field until late July when you have the training camp starting. So you got a little bit of time to wait, but
I think the big thing that's worth discussing is, and we've already said this on a bunch of shows, and I feel like personally this is a pretty half-decent wrapping point, is look, we know that this team is better on paper. We know that Jalen Hurts is going to be the guy this year. And he is doing, and I do want to stress this, literally everything right to get the Philadelphia fan base to love him. What more can he do besides playing in softball games and hitting walk-off home runs and getting photos taken with Allen Iverson and making sure that all this gun control stuff, he is the voice of the franchise and changing his throwing motion and being in good shape? What else can Jalen Hurts do besides morphing into Carson Wentz to get this fan base to love him or accept him?
So it's an answer because I can give you another scenario on is the easiest is if you were to win and you win a Super Bowl. It's easy way. But if not, you're look at a guy. Now I know there's a little controversy this week in terms of different things we won't get into. Maybe another show we will. But Donovan McNabb and the success that he had. Yes, he didn't win the big game, but still frowned upon in terms of not getting there, not getting over the hump, the situations and the way certain things ended in terms of, relation to all these things, 5 NFC championship games, only winning one, one of the best quarterbacks in franchise history, yet a guy like Randall Cunningham is beloved. And he won one playoff game in 1992 against the Saints. Otherwise, he came up short, but again, he's still loved now. Maybe if you asked that question back in 95, 96, 97, be a different answer. But, it's just it. To me, I think what Jalen Hurts can do to help this fan base, you have it. Of course, you have the guys that say, "Oh, it's the throwing motion. He can't do it. He's a second-round pick for a reason." And they have to find a new quarterback. He can't read defenses, all that stuff. But for me, it's if he takes that next step, if he gets better, he brings it into the playoff. They win a playoff game. He looks mightily improved. The offense looks improved. That's a step in the right direction for a 23-year-old quarterback.
I agree.
And that's kind of where I am on that aspect.
I agree. So listen, I don't think there's anything else to discuss tonight. Do you have anything else for the good of the people?
No, I think that's pretty good. Like I said, I got a couple of other scenarios, what ifs coming. Also, just keep track every day. We will be posting, the countdown to the Eagle season. So it'll be a play or a person or a player. There'll be a video in regards to the next day. So just keep an eye on that. It's a fun little thread that I put together. The first one is, I didn't start at 99 or 100. Unfortunately, I started 2 days later. So I started at 98 with Mike Patterson. Click on that and look at the other plays below it. Leave some comments, retweet, just get the conversation going.
Heck yes. So, I'm Chip. That's Johnny. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Thanks to Joe Giglio for joining us. And as we end every show here on the AAT Sports Network and AAT Birds, a very positive and a very happy Go Birds.